What if I told you that the next blessing God releases over your life will be so unexpected, so undeniable, and so overflowing that even the people who doubted you will have no choice but to say, "Surely God is with you." My friends, we are standing in a season where God is preparing to rewrite stories. You may feel unnoticed, misunderstood, or even underestimated, but hear this clearly. The next chapter of your life will not be written by your past. It will be written by God's purpose. Stay with me today, because what I'm about to share could change the way you see your future, your potential, and your relationship with God. If you've ever wondered whether God can turn your situation into a testimony, this message is for you. Faith creates the atmosphere for increase because everything God builds in a person's life begins long before it becomes visible to anyone else. Long before opportunities arrive, long before resources show up, long before doors begin to open, God quietly works within the heart, shaping conviction, stretching vision, and strengthening trust. Faith is not simply belief that things will turn out well. It is the deep inner assurance that God is already at work, even in silence, even when circumstances don't seem to match the promise. When a person holds that assurance, their mindset, their attitude, and even the way they interpret challenges begin to shift. Instead of seeing obstacles as proof that breakthrough is impossible, they begin to see them as preparation for the increase that is coming. Faith reorganizes the internal world before God reorganizes the external one. When someone embraces faith, they begin to see possibilities where others see limitations. That vision doesn't come from optimism alone. It comes from trusting that God's plans exceed human understanding. A person rooted in faith may still face uncertainty. They may still navigate setbacks. They may still endure moments of frustration or delay, but those experiences no longer define them. Instead, faith allows them to treat every small step as meaningful, every challenge as part of their growth, and every delay as a lesson rather than a wall. This shift creates spiritual momentum, and that momentum attracts growth. People who nurture this kind of faith often find themselves thinking more creatively, acting more boldly, and persevering with greater resilience. Faith becomes the lens that reveals opportunities others overlook. The atmosphere of increase forms first in the thoughts a person allows to settle in their mind. Faith-focused thinking produces hope, clarity, and expectation. When the mind is filled with doubt, fear, or hopelessness, it becomes difficult to recognize or accept blessings even when they arrive. But when the mind is prepared by faith, it can perceive the subtle beginnings of change and respond with readiness. This is why so many teachings throughout history emphasize the power of renewing the mind. The moment someone shifts from a mindset of limitation to a mindset rooted in faith, they open themselves to see and seize possibilities that once seemed unreachable. Faith transforms the internal narrative from "I can't" to "with God's help, I can grow step by step." Faith also has a profound effect on the heart. When faith grows, it brings peace that anchors a person during seasons of uncertainty. This peace doesn't remove difficulties, but it keeps the heart steady in the middle of them. A steady heart makes wise decisions, acts with patience, and refuses to surrender to discouragement. People often underestimate how much increase begins with emotional stability. A person who is constantly shaken by fear or doubt struggles to stay consistent long enough to reap the results of their efforts. But someone strengthened by faith can keep moving forward even when progress is slow or unnoticed. Their resilience becomes a platform for the growth God wants to bring. Faith shapes speech as well. The words a person speaks reflect the condition of their heart, and those words influence their direction. When someone speaks from fear, they reinforce limitations. When they speak from faith, they reinforce progress. Words of faith are not empty phrases or unrealistic declarations. They are reminders of God's presence and guidance. Speaking words of trust helps stabilize the mind, align thoughts with purpose, and maintain a healthy focus. When someone consistently speaks with hope, gratitude, and expectation, they nurture an atmosphere around themselves that supports growth rather than suppressing it. Over time, their words influence their actions, and their actions influence their outcomes. The atmosphere faith creates also affects relationships. People naturally draw closer to those who radiate hope and strength, and they often distance themselves from those who consistently express negativity or doubt. Faith-filled individuals attract supportive friends, mentors, and partners because their presence inspires confidence. They become people others want to invest in and collaborate with. Even small displays of faith, such as maintaining a positive outlook or treating challenges with calmness, can open doors through the people God places in their path. Many increases in life flow through connections, and those connections often form when a person carries an attitude shaped by trust and confidence. Faith influences the decisions someone makes. A person who trusts that God is guiding them is more willing to step into new opportunities, even when those opportunities require courage. They may take calculated risks, pursue learning, accept new responsibilities, or attempt projects that once seemed too overwhelming. Faith does not remove the need for wisdom. Instead, it fuels the willingness to act when wisdom and opportunity align. Someone who believes that God can bring increase becomes more intentional about preparing themselves. They study, practice, plan, and develop their abilities because they expect that God will eventually open a door. Their preparation becomes a sign of their faith. Faith sustains a person during seasons of waiting. Increase does not always come quickly, and many people lose hope too soon. But faith enables someone to remain consistent even when visible progress is limited. That consistency is one of the most powerful forces in life. Small habits maintained over time create large results. A faith-filled person trusts that their daily efforts matter. They treat each day as meaningful rather than waiting for a dramatic breakthrough. This steady discipline produces growth that becomes noticeable over time, and others begin to see the transformation they once questioned. Faith also allows a person to interpret failure differently. Instead of viewing mistakes as proof that they are unworthy or incapable, a person rooted in faith sees failure as experience, redirection, and refinement. They learn from it rather than internalizing it. This mindset prevents discouragement from becoming permanent. When someone refuses to be defined by failure, they develop endurance, and endurance positions them for long-term increase. Faith does not promise an easy path, but it promises that no experience is wasted when placed in God's hands. As faith deepens, it begins to influence a person's character. They grow in patience, kindness, integrity, humility, and generosity. Increase is not only about material or visible blessings, it is also about becoming a person who can carry greater responsibility without being overwhelmed by it. Divine increase often requires maturity. Faith shapes that maturity gently and steadily, preparing someone to handle greater opportunities with wisdom and gratitude. Faith creates anticipation, and anticipation affects behavior. When someone believes that positive change is coming, they prepare for it. They set goals, clean up old habits, organize their life, and create space for new things. This preparation signals readiness. Increase often comes to those who have already taken steps to create room for it. Faith transforms waiting into preparing, and that preparation aligns a person with the timing of God. Faith gives energy. When someone believes their efforts matter and that God is guiding them, they work with a different spirit. They are more passionate, more focused, and more persistent. Their motivation does not depend on quick results. It comes from the internal conviction that progress is unfolding even when it is not yet visible. This energy becomes a powerful force for achieving growth in every area of life. Faith shapes expectations, and expectations create direction. A person who expects good things is more likely to notice opportunities, take initiative, and respond with enthusiasm. Their positive expectation becomes a magnet that draws them into environments where growth happens. Faith makes a person alert to moments of possibility and gives them the courage to move when those moments appear. Faith builds gratitude. Gratitude creates contentment, and contentment strengthens mental and emotional well-being. When someone is grateful for what they have, while still believing for more, they carry peace rather than pressure. This balanced posture of gratitude and expectancy grounds the soul and allows increase to unfold naturally. Faith ultimately becomes the silent force shaping decisions, attitudes, relationships, and persistence. It prepares the heart long before the blessing becomes visible and creates the foundation upon which increase can be built without collapsing under pressure or doubt. Spiritual strength unlocks practical breakthrough because inner resilience shapes the way a person responds to challenges, opportunities, and responsibilities. When someone builds strength in their spirit, they develop the capacity to remain steady in difficult seasons and to act wisely in moments that require clarity. Practical success rarely comes from talent alone. It grows from consistency, patience, discipline, and the ability to make good decisions under pressure. All of these qualities are strengthened from the inside out. Spiritual strength gives a person the calmness they need to think clearly, the courage they need to take bold steps, and the endurance they need to keep moving forward even when progress feels slow. When someone cultivates spiritual strength, they begin to handle everyday responsibilities with a new sense of purpose. Work becomes more meaningful, learning becomes more fulfilling, and problem-solving becomes more creative. They take initiative rather than waiting for circumstances to change. Challenges that once felt overwhelming begin to look manageable because they are no longer approached from a place of fear or frustration. Instead, the person operates from an inner stability that helps them stay focused. This is one of the reasons spiritual strength often precedes breakthrough. People who carry inner strength naturally rise to opportunities that others avoid. A strong spirit influences habits. Many breakthroughs are not sudden events. They are the result of repeated actions done consistently over time. But consistency requires discipline, and discipline is easier to maintain when a person has a strong inner foundation. Spiritual strength fuels discipline by giving someone a deeper why. They stick to their goals not just because they want results, but because they feel called to grow, improve, and contribute. They commit to learning, practicing, and developing their skills because they see value in progress even when no one is watching. This quiet inner commitment becomes the engine that drives practical success. Spiritual strength also enhances decision-making. When someone is emotionally or mentally unstable, decisions are often reactive, rushed, or influenced by fear. But when a person has a strong spiritual core, their decisions reflect wisdom, patience, and long-term perspective. They do not panic when challenges arise or when plans change unexpectedly. Instead, they assess situations calmly, ask thoughtful questions, and consider the consequences of their choices. Strong decisions lead to strong outcomes, and many practical breakthroughs happen simply because someone made one wise choice at the right moment. Spiritual strength helps a person recognize those moments and respond well to them. Another way spiritual strength leads to practical breakthrough is through perseverance. It is rare for success to come without obstacles. Many people begin with excitement but lose motivation when they encounter setbacks. However, a person with spiritual strength is able to endure difficulties without giving up. They see setbacks as temporary and treat them as lessons rather than failures. This mindset transforms the way they experience challenges. Instead of being discouraged by slow progress, they focus on what they can control. Instead of complaining about difficulties, they adapt and adjust. They continue moving forward even when the path is not smooth. Perseverance allows them to reach places that others quit before reaching. Spiritual strength also protects the mind from negativity and distraction. In a world full of noise, comparison, and pressure, it is easy to lose focus or become overwhelmed. But when a person develops inner strength, they are less affected by external opinions or temporary emotions. They do not allow criticism to break them or praise to inflate them. They remain grounded. This grounded mindset creates an environment where productivity, creativity, and good judgment can thrive. Many practical breakthroughs are lost simply because a person became distracted or discouraged, but someone with spiritual strength can maintain clarity even in chaotic circumstances. A strong spirit helps someone manage emotions in a healthy way. Emotions are powerful, and when handled poorly, they can lead to impulsive decisions or unhealthy habits. But when handled well, emotions can fuel growth and inspiration. Spiritual strength gives someone the ability to feel emotions without being controlled by them. They can acknowledge frustration without quitting. They can feel nervousness without retreating. They can experience disappointment without losing hope. This emotional stability allows them to navigate difficult conversations, handle pressure, and maintain motivation even when circumstances are not ideal. Emotional maturity is one of the greatest assets a person can have, and it emerges naturally when spiritual strength deepens. Spiritual strength also expands a person's capacity to handle responsibility. When someone grows stronger inside, they are able to take on more without feeling overwhelmed. They can manage multiple tasks, lead others, or step into new roles with confidence. Many breakthroughs come when a person is ready to handle more, and readiness begins within. A strong spirit gives someone the confidence they need to accept new challenges and the humility they need to keep learning through them. This combination of confidence and humility often attracts opportunities because others trust them and believe in their reliability. Interpersonal relationships also improve when someone has spiritual strength. Healthy relationships are essential to practical success, whether in school, work, or personal life. A strong spirit helps someone communicate more respectfully, listen more attentively, and respond more thoughtfully. It reduces unnecessary conflict and strengthens trust. When relationships function well, collaboration becomes easier and doors to new opportunities open. Many breakthroughs are relational rather than individual, arising from teamwork, mentorship, and support. Spiritual strength equips a person to build these kinds of relationships and to maintain them with integrity. Another powerful effect of spiritual strength is resilience in the face of uncertainty. Life often brings seasons where the path forward is not clear. Plans may fall apart, timelines may shift, and circumstances may change unexpectedly. Without inner strength, uncertainty can cause fear, confusion, or paralysis. But someone with spiritual strength can continue moving even when the destination is unclear. They trust the process, stay open to learning, and remain flexible. This resilience enables them to adapt quickly, and adaptability is a major factor in practical success. People who respond well to change tend to grow faster and discover opportunities others miss. Spiritual strength encourages self-reflection. Instead of blaming others or making excuses, a strong person looks inward to understand their own patterns, attitudes, and behaviors. They are willing to admit mistakes, correct their course, and keep improving. This self-awareness removes barriers that could prevent progress. Many breakthroughs require a shift in perspective or behavior, and self-reflection opens the door to that shift. A person who is honest with themselves can grow continuously, and continuous growth naturally leads to practical breakthroughs. Spiritual strength also nurtures patience, which is essential for long-term success. Many worthwhile achievements take time. People without patience rush the process and become discouraged when results don't come quickly. But someone with spiritual strength understands the value of steady progress. They know that seeds take time to grow, ideas take time to develop, and skills take time to mature. Their patience keeps them grounded while they work, allowing them to build something solid rather than chasing shortcuts or temporary solutions. Another way spiritual strength leads to breakthrough is through the development of self-control. A person with spiritual strength learns to manage impulses, avoid distractions, and stay committed to what matters. Self-control helps them maintain healthy habits, avoid unnecessary conflict, and stay focused on their long-term goals. Many breakthroughs depend not on extraordinary talent, but on small daily choices that accumulate over time. Spiritual strength gives someone the ability to make those choices consistently. Finally, spiritual strength helps a person stay aligned with their values. When someone knows who they are and what they stand for, they are less likely to compromise their integrity just to gain temporary advantage. Authenticity builds trust, and trust opens doors that cannot be forced open. A person who remains true to their values becomes someone others respect and rely on. Over time, that respect becomes influence and opportunity. Spiritual strength is the foundation that supports a person's decisions, habits, relationships, and perseverance. It shapes the way they think, the way they work, and the way they respond to life's challenges. Through this inner resilience, practical breakthrough becomes not only possible, but natural, growing from the solid ground of a strong and steady spirit. Your transformation will become a testimony because the changes God works in your life are never meant to remain hidden. When someone experiences growth, breakthrough, or unexpected favor, it serves as a living proof of what faith, perseverance, and divine guidance can accomplish. Transformation begins inwardly in the heart and mind, and then flows outwardly into every area of life: attitudes, actions, relationships, and opportunities. People notice when someone who was once limited by fear, doubt, or hardship begins to walk with confidence, clarity, and purpose. That visible change becomes a testimony not only of personal strength, but of the power that operates through faith and alignment with God's will. The first way transformation becomes testimony is through the tangible difference in a person's behavior. When someone has been through challenges and emerges stronger, others naturally notice the change in how they respond to situations. Patience replaces frustration, calmness replaces anxiety, wisdom replaces impulsivity, and positivity replaces negativity. These changes, even small ones, communicate more loudly than words. When someone who was once reactive begins to respond thoughtfully, or someone who struggled with indecision begins to act decisively, people around them begin to see that something greater is at work. Transformation is often recognized first in subtle, consistent behaviors that demonstrate growth. Transformation also manifests in the results a person produces. As faith, spiritual strength, and consistent effort align, outcomes begin to shift. Academic performance improves, career opportunities increase, relationships become healthier, and personal goals are achieved more effectively. These results are noticed not only by the person experiencing them, but by friends, family, colleagues, and even strangers. When the outcomes exceed what people expected based on past performance, the transformation speaks for itself. People cannot ignore results that are consistently positive and unexpected, and they begin to attribute those results to more than mere human effort. They start to see the testimony of discipline, faith, and perseverance made visible. Another powerful aspect of transformation is the inspiration it provides to others. When someone overcomes adversity and begins to thrive, it encourages others who may feel stuck or hopeless. Witnessing someone's growth demonstrates that change is possible, that circumstances do not have to define the future, and that dedication paired with faith can produce real results. Transformation becomes contagious. People are inspired to emulate the qualities they observe: resilience, patience, integrity, and vision. A life changed in meaningful ways communicates a message that cannot be taught through lectures or advice alone. It proves that growth and breakthrough are achievable. Transformation also reveals the authenticity of a person's faith and character. Many people can speak about hope, positivity, or belief, but true transformation is demonstrated through lived experience. It is visible in consistency during trials, grace under pressure, and generosity even when resources are limited. Those who experience transformation become living proof that principles of faith, discipline, and integrity work. Others begin to trust their words and follow their example because they see the proof in action. Transformation removes skepticism. It turns abstract ideas into reality that can be witnessed firsthand. The impact of transformation extends into relationships. As someone grows, their influence on family, friends, colleagues, and even casual acquaintances increases. People naturally gravitate toward those who exhibit stability, wisdom, and positivity. A transformed individual can provide guidance, encouragement, and support to others in ways that were not possible before. Their life becomes a platform to uplift those around them. Family members may notice changes in communication, conflict resolution, and emotional support, which can strengthen bonds and inspire collective growth. Friends and colleagues may be motivated by the example of consistent improvement and purpose-driven action. Transformation also demonstrates the alignment of a person's life with values and principles. As someone grows, their decisions reflect integrity, responsibility, and vision. They are more likely to make choices that reflect long-term goals rather than short-term convenience. Observers can see that the person is living intentionally, making choices with purpose, and acting in ways consistent with their beliefs. This alignment makes the testimony even more compelling because it is not temporary or superficial. It is sustained, visible, and consistent. People are drawn to examples of lives that reflect genuine transformation, and these lives influence attitudes and decisions in others. Transformation is often most evident in how someone handles adversity after growth. Those who have been strengthened internally and have experienced breakthrough tend to respond to new challenges with resilience rather than despair. Instead of repeating old patterns, they approach difficulties with calm, wisdom, and strategy. Observers notice that setbacks no longer control the person's emotional state or decision-making. This change inspires confidence and respect from others. It becomes clear that transformation is not simply about success. It is about a deep, enduring capacity to navigate life with grace and effectiveness. A transformed life communicates hope and possibility through consistency over time. Temporary success or one-time victories are easy to dismiss, but sustained transformation proves that the changes are rooted deeply in character and principle. When someone maintains growth despite obstacles, fatigue, or pressure, their testimony becomes undeniable. Others begin to recognize that the transformation is real, not accidental, and that the person's journey provides valuable lessons and guidance. People may begin to ask questions, seek advice, and look to the transformed individual as an example of how to overcome their own challenges. Transformation also influences mindset and perspective. When someone grows spiritually, emotionally, and practically, their outlook on life changes. They begin to see opportunities where once they saw barriers. They approach problems as challenges rather than threats, and they measure success in ways that include character, contribution, and growth, not just material achievement. This shift in perspective becomes evident to others, particularly in conversations, decisions, and interactions. People notice when someone's priorities, focus, and energy are aligned with purpose rather than distraction. This alignment enhances credibility and strengthens the power of the testimony. Spiritual transformation often leads to a life of service, which multiplies the impact of the testimony. Those who have been helped, guided, or inspired by the individual's growth experience are encouraged to pursue their own growth, creating a ripple effect. When transformation is paired with generosity, sharing knowledge, time, or support, the testimony extends beyond personal circles and touches a wider community. Observers not only see the personal results, but also the way those results are used to uplift others. This creates a living example of success that is holistic and inclusive. Transformation also becomes a testimony because it is measurable against the past. People who knew the individual before change often remember struggles, limitations, or patterns of behavior that were once barriers. When they witness the transformation, the contrast is undeniable. This comparison amplifies the impact because it provides context. The change is not theoretical. It is evident, observable, and undeniable. Those who doubted or questioned the potential for growth are often compelled to acknowledge the reality of the transformation, which reinforces the power of perseverance and faith. Transformation influences communication. A person who has grown develops clarity, conviction, and wisdom in how they express themselves. Their words carry weight because they speak from experience, understanding, and insight. Others are naturally drawn to listen, follow guidance, or seek mentorship. This enhanced communication ability is another way the life becomes a testimony because people recognize that the person's voice is credible, grounded, and informed by lived experience rather than theory alone. Finally, transformation demonstrates resilience and adaptability, qualities that inspire others and validate the power of personal growth. People often fear change or feel trapped by circumstances, but witnessing someone navigate transformation successfully encourages them to take steps toward their own improvement. The transformed individual embodies proof that consistent effort, faith, and alignment with purpose result in tangible, observable change. Their life becomes a living example that challenges can be overcome, potential can be realized, and influence can be multiplied through personal growth.